Hey everyone, this is Randy from BibleBuyingGuide.com. Today I'm taking a look at the New King James Preaching Bible from Thomas Nelson in black premium calfskin leather. Quick look at the specs here. It's a verse-by-verse layout, and it has 72,000 cross-references in a two-color setting with 11.5-point font. Premium high-contrast Bible paper. Flexible calfskin binding with 3 ribbons. Let's take a look at it. Let's see. There is our ISBN at $140 basically for manufactured suggested retail price. It comes in this nice clamshell box, and there is our Bible. Calfskin. At first I thought it was a little stiff, and I didn't think it was a soft cover, but the more I use it, the floppier it's getting and the softer it feels to my fingers. But it does have the embossed green with perimeter stitching. It looks really nice. Kind of a matte finish. That's my favorite type of finish. It's not as soft as the mahogany edition, but it does look nice. Alright, so on the spine we have Holy Bible, then the New King James logo and Thomas Nelson, and then 5 spine hub indications, but these are all printed on. This is not stamped in. It's all printed on. And then we have edge line liner. This is a synthetic liner. It looks really nice though. It's a little stiff, compared to other calfskin editions that are edge lined. But it's more flexible than a paste down. And then we have there's our edge line tab. And well, let's set him down here so I can handle this. And then we have the presentation page. And let's see if I can open this up here and show you inside. Something like that. Well, that's not where it's lined up at. I'll cut that out. So here's our paper. And this is the blue that they use for the highlights all the way through. I'm not exactly sure what color that is, but I like that color. I like that a lot. 39 GSM paper. And it's very opaque. It's easy to grab and turn. And I say that, and it's difficult to grab, but it's not really. That's the angle I'm standing. I like to grab paper and separate them like this, and that's easy to do with this thing. Made in China. It does feel like good paper. It really does. I like that paper, and the print is dark, really dark. I love those blue highlights all the way through. So Old Testament, we have our double column layout, verse by verse, with section headings, book names, chapter numbers, verse numbers, references and footnotes are in the footer, and they also have the blue. All this has the blue, and then the header has the page number in black in the center, but then over here in the corner we have the book name, complete name spelled out with the chapter and verse numbers. All that's in blue. And then our verse by verse setting indents every verse, so they're easy to find. And then the verse numbers, they stand out, but they don't stand out to the point where they're distracting. And one thing I like is that every verse starts with a capital or a lowercase, depending on how it fits within the sentence. So regardless of whether or not it starts a new verse, if it continues a sentence, it has a lowercase letter. The KJV, by tradition, doesn't do that. By tradition, the KJV places every single letter in capital. And then we have our poetic setting. It's still verse by verse, even in the poetry. Let me get over here to poetry. I think there's a book or two over here. It's got some poetry in it. So every verse in poetry is still set in verse by verse. It looks really nice. This is a good poetic setting. It has around 10 words per line, between 8 and 10 on average. I've seen a few that have like 11 or 12, but they usually have a lot of small words, but around 8 or 10, and I find that to be a good line width. 11.5-point font is dark and easy to read. Now this does not have oblique type for quotes in the New Testament from the Old Testament. They've gotten rid of the oblique type because it's a little bit confusing. It almost looks like the italics for supplied words, and they couldn't really. It's really hard to tell that apart sometimes. So they just went ahead and got rid of that. Looks really nice. pages are easy to grab and turn. I've preached from this, and I had no issues preaching from it. No issues at all. I'm going to show you in Ezra what letters look like. Letters are still indented so that they stand out from the prose. Now the prose, so you can tell letters look like letters, poetry looks like poetry, prose looks like prose. Even though the prose is broken up into verses, it still looks separate, looks different. And once you've broken it in, I don't mean just your standard break-in like this. I mean, once you've used it enough, it will actually lay open in Genesis with no trouble at all. For me, it'll stay open around chapter 10 with no issues. But at first, it was more like out here somewhere. But after I've used it, it's starting to break in really well. It'll stay open right there. I'm not having to fight against that, so that's not a problem. I don't have an issue with that. It will break in really well. And the references and the footnotes are easy to read. I like the New King James footnotes because they give a lot of manuscript variation. Black letter edition. And I find these section headings easy to see and use. And then in the very back, this one, the KJV does not have this, but this one, they gave you 8 pages of writing paper. Now this is the same paper as the regular text, so it's not new paper or not different paper, not notebook paper. But this is still good paper for writing. I think that would be good paper for highlighting and that kind of thing. It's still a bit stiff back here. I haven't broken that part in too well, but 8 pages, and then it does not have a concordance or maps. And here's the information about 2K Denmark designing the typeface. This is the comfort print type. And someone asked me, if that's a negative about it not having concordance and maps. That's up to you. I like to tell you what it has, and you can decide for yourself if that's good or bad. Some people like it, some people don't. Some people don't even use them. Some people want them. That's like some people wanted this to have wide margins. Some don't. It's up to you if that's a positive or a negative. I tell you what it has, and you can decide that for you. So let's take a look at, there's the ribbons, look really nice. Take a look at some comparison shots here. The KJV Minister's Bible is kind of a companion to this one. It's a smaller font. It's a different layout. So they don't have the same pagination. You can put them side by side, and they're totally different. But this one is a paragraph setting. If I can find something with paragraph. I think there's something in paragraph in here somewhere. So paragraph setting. And this one, if I'm remembering correctly, is red letter. And then it has maps. And I don't remember if it has a concordance. Let's take a look. Been a few days since I've used this one. This one has a reading plan. And then 30 Days with Jesus. Now, the point of this one is that it's a small Bible that you can carry with you. This is the exact same pagination as the thin line. But it uses the same paper as this one. At least I think it's the same. I'm almost positive it's the same paper. So 40 GSM is really easy to read. You can tell. I mean, it's super easy to read. But in the middle, we have pastoral and ministerial resources for weddings and funerals and baptisms and dedications and that kind of thing. And so this one is made mostly for people on the go. And then this one is made for people laying on their pulpit. Now, I don't find this to be too heavy to carry. While I'm talking about being heavy, let's weigh this. I think that comes in at 2 pounds, 8 ounces, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that is correct. And then the size, we have 9 3/4 by 6 3/4 by, I can already tell you that's 1 1/2. That is 1 and, I'm sure it's 1 1/2. Hang on. I'm measuring. Yep, 1 1/2. So, nice little carry Bible. I do find this one easier for carry. Absolutely easier to carry that one. But this one I would rather preach from. I do like this size font. And I'll show you what it reminds me of. It reminds me of the Quintel. Here is the Scholar Quintel. Here is how they compare side by side. About the same size font. If anything, this one might be a hair larger. I think this one's called 11 and that one's called 11.5. But this one looks maybe slightly larger. Not much. Not enough to care. And the reason for the size difference is font styles have different size differences. It's just the way it is. The way typography works. It's really hard to measure. So here's how they look together. I mean, they compare well. They really do. And then, of course, this one's a goatskin edition, but you can also get this in calfskin. And let's look at the premium large print thin line Premier collection. This one is about the same footprint and has quite a bit smaller font. About the same darkness, at least to my eye right here. And this paper is 36 GSM. This paper is easier to grab and turn, but this is easy enough to grab and turn. I actually did like preaching from this one better than I liked preaching from this one, although I do like preaching from this one. This is one of the most beautiful double column layouts ever. For me, it's not necessarily a matter of single column versus double column. It's a matter of column width. I like a certain width. And this is it for readability. That's it, because poetry looks beautiful. But this does poetry well too. I don't have any complaints about this poetry at all. This looks nice. So 10 words across is excellent. I'm fine with that. This one has more like 12. Between the two, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So either way. Now, if I had this one already, I don't know that I'd buy this one, because this one does have a couple other advantages. I will show you. This one has a concordance, and it has maps. Not everybody's a map guy, but I'm a map guy. I like to, when I'm teaching or preaching, I like to, just, hey, let's all stop and go to the back and let's look and see where this is on our maps. Not always. It's not always appropriate to, but when it is appropriate to, I like to. And then also, of course, this one is leather lined with real leather, and then goat skin with gilt line. This is a more premium edition than this is, even though I do consider this a premium Bible. They're both premium editions, but it's like a higher end premium and a lower end premium. But we're still talking edge line. We're still talking leather. We're still talking calfskin, just a synthetic liner. And I think that is it. So let's see how they look side by side. Kind of got them twisted there just a touch, but they compare really well. This one is floppier than this one, but this one's nice. I like it. That's a good preaching Bible. Really good. Now, if you like, if you like, more note paper, or if you like a concordance, or if you like maps, or if you like wide margins, this is not going to be what you're looking for. But if you just need a verse by verse for quick and easy navigation, this is an excellent Bible. I love this paper. I love the paper. I love the print. It's an excellent Bible. And it's not necessarily a good or a bad as far as the verse by verse versus paragraph. It depends on what you want. And for me, I think it's a matter of either, not necessarily either or, it's a matter of both. I think they both have their uses. And I think this is an excellent Bible for preaching. Now, I did receive this in exchange for an honest review, and I'll post some links in the notes so that you can see the written review with more detail, and so that you can make a purchase if you want. And I do include affiliate links in my links, and that is to help me keep BibleBindGuide.com running. It's been running since 2011, and I appreciate all the help that I've gotten from all my readers. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.